Hello, Algebra 1 students. Here we are in Unit 5, Tier 3, Lesson 6, Graphing Linear Inequalities Combined. Check off your booklet, please. Here we are in Tier 3, Lesson 6, Graphing Linear Inequalities Combined. So now we're going to combine some of the skills that we've done in the last couple tiers in the last few lessons about graphing linear inequalities. So let's start with this one. We have x is greater than -2. Well, we know with that being a single variable that line is just going to be drawn at that value x, and because it's an x single variable, it's going to be a vertical line at -2, and because of this symbol, we know that it's going to be dotted. So let's zoom in here. So here's the point at x equals -2, and we're going to have a dotted line. It's just a sketch, so it doesn't have to be perfect. And then it says our x is greater than -2, so we will shade to the right of this line. Let's do our next example. So here we have a graph and we have the inequality y is less than -2/3 x plus 1. Well, we're going to graph this just like we would any other graph in slope-intercept form of y equals mx plus b, to where this is our y-intercept and this is our slope m right here. Y-intercept of 1 right there, and then my rise over run, my m value is rise over run. So I'm going to rise -2 and run 3, or go down 2 and right 3. So 1, 2, and then 1, 2, 3. So there's my point right there for my line. And I notice again that I have this symbol right here. So it's going to be a dotted line drawn through these. But now we got to figure out which way we're going to shade. So remember, you got to pick a point. I always like to pick 0, 0 because it's the easiest point to plug into any equation. So we're going to plug 0 in for y, and we're going to plug 0 in for x. So we get 0 less than -2/3 times 0 is just 0 plus 1, which is just 1. So we get 0 is less than 1. Well, this is a true statement. So that means this is the side we shade. We shade the side that 0, 0 is on. Perfect. Let's go look at our next example. Those two examples are, you have the equation, you're told to graph and shade it. These two are examples, which you might have to shade these in a little bit yourself on your booklet, because they didn't show up very well on my booklet. But these two examples now, you're given the graph and they want you to construct the inequality. Let's come out here and take a look at it. I have a point here and a point here. Well, this is -10. So to get up to this point, which is my x-intercept, I got to rise 10, or go up positive 10. Then I got to run 1, 2. So I rose 10, run 2 to give me a slope of 10 over 2, which is my slope is 5. So now in the form of, and I know it's an inequality, but we're talking in the form of y equals mx plus b. We'll put the inequality symbol in there in a minute. I know that my m value is definitely 5. So I have y and then 5x. And then let's come over here and examine. Right here at -10, that's my y-intercept. My b value right here is going to be -10 or -10. I'm going to fix this x. -10. So now I just have to figure out what symbol I'm using. Well, it's a solid line, so I'm for sure using the symbol with a line under it, right? But which way does it go? Well, since 0, 0 is above this line, and if I plug 0 in here and 0 in here, I get 0 and then -10. So I know that my line, my symbol needs to go that way because 0 is greater than or equal to -10. So this would be my equation that I constructed for that line. Let's go look at the last example. So here I have a horizontal line. So I know I'm only going to have one variable, x or y. And I know that when it's horizontal, I get the y variable and then whatever value it's at. And we can see if we zoom in here, it's at 4. So I get y and 4, and then I also know that it's above, so that means the y value is going to be bigger or greater. The solution is going to be greater than 4, and it's also a solid line, so I use the greater than or equal to symbol. And then you could always check that by just plugging in a value. So let's say 8, and I can plug in 8, and 8 is definitely greater than or equal to 4. Good luck on your practice sets.